We've all seen the movies, right? The slick suits, the $1 million deal, champagne constantly flowing, investment banking. It's where dreams are made, or at least that's what Hollywood wants us to believe. But you wanted the real deal, not the Hollywood version. So let's ditch the movie set and take a deep dive into what it actually takes to hack it on Wall Street using this insider account you sent over. We're talking the culture, the lifestyle of these financial masterminds, from the bottom rung all the way to the top. And it all starts, well, with understanding the core of this world, the culture. Our source breaks down investment banking culture into 4 key points. And the first one, well, it paints a pretty vivid picture. Junior bankers. They're treated like commodities. Now, before you picture a trading floor where interns are being exchanged for gold bars, think of it more like a high-stakes football team. Each player, even the rookies just off the bench, they're essential to the game. But in this world, it's all about the win. And if a player isn't cutting it, they're benched, no matter how much potential they have.
What's fascinating is that this cutthroat mentality isn't just about individual talent, or even work ethic for that matter. It's the nature of the game itself. These are high-stakes deals, often involving millions, even billions of dollars. Clients are demanding, deadlines are tight, and the competition fierce. You're not just playing against other teams, you're competing with everyone in the league. This pressure cooker environment breeds a results over everything mentality.
So as you're saying, it's less about nurturing talent and more about getting the job done, whatever it takes.
Precisely. And that leads us to the second point. Personal sacrifices are par for the course in this world. Imagine having to bail on your best friend's birthday dinner. Again, because a pitch book needs last-minute revisions.
Or missing your niece's dance recital for a due diligence call. Essentially, that's where you're doing the deep dive into a company's financials, before advising on a merger or acquisition. It's intense.
Absolutely. Because in this world, you don't just work for yourself. You belong to the firm. Your life, it becomes intertwined with the deal flow.
Okay, so belonging to the firm. What does that actually look like for a junior banker trying to climb that corporate ladder? We're talking analysts, fresh out of college, right?
Think of it as a constant evaluation, a proving ground with very little room for error. These junior bankers are assessed not just on their output, but on their availability, their willingness to go above and beyond. And there's not a lot of hand-holding. You're expected to learn on the fly, adapt quickly, and deliver results under immense pressure.
It's like being thrown into the deep end of the pool and told to not only swim, but to win the race against Olympic athletes, while the judges critique your every stroke.
And the water is boiling. You either sink or swim, and there's very little room for error.
Which brings us to the third point. It's not just about working long hours. It's about being always on. Our source put it perfectly, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. is part-time on Wall Street.
That quote, it perfectly encapsulates the expectation of constant availability and the toll it takes on your personal life. Weekends, holidays, even vacations. They all become fluid. You're always on call, always ready to jump back into the game.
So what you're saying is, even if you somehow manage to escape the office, the work never really leaves you. You're constantly tethered, waiting for that next email, that next call to action.
Exactly. And because the bar is set so high, exceeding expectations is almost impossible. You're either meeting them or you're falling behind.
Which creates an environment where even the smallest mistakes are magnified.
Remember, we're talking about millions, sometimes billions of dollars on the line. The stakes are incredibly high, and the pressure to perform is relentless.
Okay, so we've talked about the intense pressure or the always-on mentality, but what does that actually look like day to day? Paint a picture for us. Life in the trenches.
Well, let's just say, those comfy office scenes you see in the movies. The ones with ergonomic chairs and afternoon strolls to the coffee machine. Yeah, those don't really exist in this world, especially not for junior bankers.
You're talking about the analysts fresh out of college, right?
Yeah.
The ones treating in their Friday night parties for Friday night pitch books.
Exactly. We're talking 70 to 100-hour work weeks, fueled by gallons of coffee, and the occasional power nap under a desk.
I'm exhausted just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So walk us through it. A typical week in the life.
Well, Monday morning usually kicks off with a fire hose of emails and voicemails, the ones that piled up over the weekend, followed by back-to-back meetings, client calls, and then the real fun begins. Number crunching, financial modeling, preparing presentations, for those all-important client pitches.
And those presentations, those are the famous pitch books, right? The ones that can make or break a deal.
Exactly. And they're not just some PowerPoint slides thrown together. These documents are meticulously crafted. often containing hundreds of pages of financial analysis, market research, strategic recommendations.
So basically, it's a crash course in business, finance, and whatever industry that client happens to be in, all rolled into one sleep-deprived week.
Pretty much. And that's just Monday. Now, rinse and repeat that for the next 6 days. Throw in some last-minute travel, and you're starting to get a glimpse into this world.
Speaking of travel, our source mentioned something about investment banking being all about FaceTime.
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean in this context? Is it just about, like, being physically present in the office until your boss leaves?
It goes beyond just staying late, although that's definitely a part of it. It's more about being seen, being seen as a team player, as someone who's fully committed, even if it means sacrificing your personal time for something as simple as, like, waiting for your VP to finish up an email so you can get a 2-minute conversation in before they head home for the night.
So it's like a weird high-stakes game of hurry up and wait.
Precisely. And that's where the emotional toll starts to set in. Burnout is a very real thing in this industry. The long hours, the constant pressure, the lack of control over your schedule, it takes a toll.
So how do these junior bankers cope? I mean, aside from the caffeine and the occasional nap under the desk.
Well, camaraderie plays a huge role. Building a support system within the firm with your fellow analysts and associates, the ones going through the same thing, those late night junk food fueled bonding sessions over spreadsheets, they're essential.
It's like finding your tribe in the trenches.
Exactly. Those shared experiences, the gallows humor, the camaraderie, that's what helps them get through. Because even though they're all technically competing, right, for those coveted promotions, they're also in the same boat, navigating the same choppy waters.
And speaking of navigating those waters, there's a big difference between being an analyst, fresh out of college, and an associate, right? What are the key distinctions there?
You're right. It's not all just one big junior banker experience. Analysts are typically on a 2-year contract, and they're really there to, learn the ropes, build their technical skills, pay their dues, if you will. Think of it as a financial boot camp.
So they're essentially thrown into the deep end and told to figure it out.
Pretty much. Yeah. But that's where the steep learning curve comes in. They're expected to absorb information like sponges, master complex financial models, become experts in, whatever industry or deal they're working on.
And the associates, are they still pulling all-nighters and living off vending machine snacks?
They're still putting in the long hours, but they have a bit more experience, maybe a couple of years under their belt. They're starting to manage teams, delegate tasks, think more strategically. They're also the ones who've survived, right? Survived those grueling first couple of years. So they have a better understanding of the game and how to play it.
So they're starting to move up that corporate ladder, getting a taste of the potential rewards that come with this high-pressure environment. Okay, so we've covered the grueling hours, the intense pressure, but there's one more aspect of investment banking we need to unpack: the travel. Because, nothing screams glamorous Wall Street lifestyle quite like jetting off to exotic locations for high-powered meetings, right?
Well, the reality of travel in investment banking is often a bit different from the glamorous image portrayed in movies. It's not always private jets and luxurious hotels.
Let me guess. More like red-eye flights and cramped middle seats.
Exactly. Think less Wolf of Wall Street and more working ant of Wall Street. Travel is often a necessity, driven by the need to meet clients, conduct due diligence, or attend industry conferences.
So those frequent flyer miles aren't always being cashed in for tropical vacations.
Well, they do have their perks, I'll grant you that. And for some, those brief escapes from the office, even if it's just to a different city, it can provide a much-needed change of scenery.
I can imagine. A hotel room with room service and a king-size bed probably feels like a 5-star resort when you're used to sleeping under your desk.
Precisely. But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the kind of person who not only survives, but thrives in this demanding world. Who are these financial gladiators and what makes them tick?
Because it takes a certain kind of personality to not just handle the pressure, but to actually excel in that environment.
Right. Absolutely. Our source paints a picture of the typical successful analyst as someone who's exceptionally bright, highly ambitious, and possesses an almost superhuman ability to handle pressure. But it goes beyond that. These are individuals who are used to juggling multiple priorities, who thrive in fast-paced, demanding environments.
So we're talking about those overachievers back in college, the ones who aced their exams, while also running the debate club and volunteering on weekends.
Exactly. They're incredibly driven. But here's the interesting part. Social skills are just as crucial as financial acumen in this world.
Really? You're saying it's not enough to just be a numbers whiz. You need to be able to work a room, too.
Absolutely. Being able to navigate those late night work sessions, manage up, build relationships with senior bankers. Those are all essential skills for advancement. Think of it as a high-stakes game of chess, where your social standing within the firm is just as important as your ability to close a deal.
So it's not just about what you know. It's about who you know and how you play the game. It sounds like a delicate balance of ambition, intelligence, and social savvy.
Precisely. And as you climb that corporate ladder, those interpersonal skills become even more crucial. To reach the very top, to become that rainmaker, you need to be persuasive, influential, and yes, sometimes even ruthless.
So it's a cutthroat world. But at the end of the day, the question remains, is the allure of those hefty bonuses, the promise of a corner office, enough to outweigh the sacrifices required?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's one that each individual has to answer for themselves. We've explored the grueling hours, the intense pressure, but also the excitement of closing deals, the camaraderie, the potential for incredible financial rewards.
So as you reflect on this deep dive into the world of investment banking, ask yourself, do the potential rewards outweigh the very real sacrifices required? Because that's the ultimate trade-off in this world, and only you can decide if the price is worth paying.